It is 8 o'clock on Monday morning. That means it's time for Growth Mode Live with Donnie, Keith, and Kevin, and me, if I turn my camera back on.
That's a great way to start.
I'm really liking it this way. We'll probably get way more viewers.
I figured you would.
You did look much better.
Guys.
Morning. I gotta agree with Keith, Morris. That's the best you've ever looked.
I can make that happen. It's okay. So what's happening, Donnie? What happened on the farm this weekend, man? I mean, geez, we got to keep up with our guinea hens and our goats and stuff.
We had 2 turkeys that have been sitting on eggs for a while. They finally hatched. They hatched 1 baby chick between 2 turkeys. So now I have 2 full-grown female turkeys that are shepherding around 1 chick.
Usually that sounds like a recipe for major problem.
Yeah, I mean,
not in today's world, it's not.
Well, wow. Usually, freaking, we'll pick up the baby chicks because we've got so many predators and things out here that they just get taken up. But we just all right, it's got 2 full-grown adult turkeys. We'll see what the hell happens. Play a little farm Russian roulette this morning. So.
I would, Keith, you're absolutely right. I was just thinking about in the real world how that might work, but in all reality, my dad died when I was 3 weeks old. I had a mom and 2 aunts and a sister, and all them women did a great job of taking care of me. So what can I say? Jeez.
Yeah, there you go. So, Donnie, Kim Laughlin is asking how the new puppy's doing.
Really good. We cannot get her to freaking put on weight to save her life, and. Man, I went and bought freaking expensive ass canned food and everything else, but she just scrawny as hell. But she's doing well. She's hitting her early teen years already, and decides that she wants to go run the entirety of the farm and not go in the house. And with the big dogs, you can kind of yell, smack them on the ass, and tell them to go. But when they're that tiny, it's really hard to do anything other than keep yelling. So I'm sure my neighbors across the creek really love me at this point.
Yeah, my 10-month-old boy is loving playing out with my mom and dad's dogs. And Mom reminded me yesterday that, unfortunately, they are in heat and he is of age.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
So she said, if anything happens, I am responsible. So
Keith's having more puppies.
Right. That's gonna be a weird looking dog if Grizzly and Mom's Pyrenees.
Yeah. So he's a Pyrenees and I think Altonian Shepherd mix. So, and he's got that dark brown coat where theirs has a pure white coat. So we'll see. We'll see how that comes out.
It'll come out looking like a freaking one of those Dalmatian, just white with spots.
That'll work. Trying to be like Keith, doesn't really look like the rest of the family, but
right.
That's right. I'm the white sheep of this family.
You claim him anyway, right?
White sheep of the family.
Yeah, because you guys are all black sheep. I'm the only white sheep.
Yeah. I think we got to put some context around who's worse at doing what. I think we all kind of have our things, if you will.
Oh, that's your opinion, and they're all like assholes. Everybody has one. They all stink.
I'm the one everybody loves and loves to have around because I'm so generous and cuddly and warm and loving and caring. And
why don't you show everybody how you say hello and how you say goodbye?
Yeah, I've never heard any good words about you before. So.
About as loving as he gets, right there.
Yeah, that's about it. So, but other than that, man, it was a pretty chill weekend. We kind of laid.
It was hot. It was hot again here, man. It's crazy hot here.
Yeah.
So we're hitting 109, 110.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's crazy.
112 already is the hottest we've hit down here yet.
Yeah.
So it's dumb.
Morris, you're about an hour and a half from us. Are you getting this heat wave?
It's hot, but it's not like 112. But then again, I stay inside all day. Who cares? God made air conditioning for
Is that for a court order?
Yeah.
Morris, do you just leave the balloons attached to the top of your house, or
works better that way. Up. Going
I
up
don't know
there.
why he never brings on the talking dog. I just
Right?
think it's fair at all.
Hey, no kidding. Disney actually has a shorts series called Doug Days. So it's the dog Doug from Up, and he has this whole series about him in the backyard. It's
Really?
actually pretty damn funny,
I'll
and
catch
it'll
that.
make you really want to get a freaking dog collar that talks. So,
Speaking of shows, I finally finished Quarterback.
I did last night as well. What a brilliant freaking show!
That was awesome. So I'm getting ready to start watching the second season of Bear now.
So another good show you guys should check out is 5-Star Chef. I just wrapped that one up, and I don't think the guy who won should have won. I think they screwed up and with their finalists, and they had to go with whatever they had left. But you want to talk about my 3 favorite series right now to think about how you're growing and building your businesses is The Bear, The Quarterback, and 5-Star Chef. Those 3.
I'll add one in there though. The Great Food Truck Race event. It's on live TV right now if you have cable or TV or whatever. But you talk about running a business with all of these red tape they throw in front of you, and the number 1 chef throughout the entire show got cut last week. So
well, that's what happened. The same thing in 5-Star is the guy who flat out could outcook. I mean, his skill set compared to every other chef out there was just night and day.
Yeah, same with this guy. This Hawaiian dude just lighting stuff up, judge favorite, fan favorite, and just because it's a little twist they put in there, it stumbled him up a little bit, and he was adios.
That's crazy, but say the same thing about business for sure.
Absolutely, yep.
Well, Donnie teaches something. I mean, you learned all this stuff from all these different shows. Teach us something this morning.
So, I was asked to teach cold calling this morning, but I want to talk a little bit about those shows because there's a couple of fascinating things that I keep taking away. And I can tell you before having my own companies, watching these type of shows was just entertainment. Now for me, watching this show is like sitting in a classroom, learning from these folks. I will say from 5-Star Chef, one of the coolest things, the first time I've ever really seen a food cooking, type show talk about the business finance side of running a business. They actually ran a contest with them of who could come up with a menu and deliver, and whoever made the most money won that particular challenge. So they had to come up and now granted, they're in a 5-star freaking hotel where they have access to any food ingredient in the world, 100-year-old soy sauce, and just the craziest shit you've ever heard of. And at one point in one of the meals, they're cooking with sturgeon, right? You don't cook necessarily sturgeon because you get all the freaking, eggs and stuff for them. And its most famous caviar in the world comes from sturgeon. But, in that particular episode, they had to go through and come up with all the ingredients, the menu, everything for a high-end lunch service and be able to sell, produce, put it out there and make a lot of money on it. And watching the chefs who understood money compared to the chefs who didn't was pretty damn telling. Watching them go through. The second thing that I really loved in there was you got to see how somebody handled pressure. Because working a line once upon a time, back when Elizabeth and I met when I was working at Bennigan's, I've ran a line. And let me tell you, you got to be on, because you got to be able to know when to call the things out, when to say this certain thing goes, keep the tickets right. It was wild watching. And I loved finally when the black guy who's, the main line guy, chef for the 5-star, he finally did at one point just takes over. And as soon as he takes over, you see just a well-oiled machine as he starts calling the orders out, and that's just the discipline of years of doing it. I love The Bear mainly because you get to see the truth behind what it takes to really run a business, the stress. And my favorite thing about The Bear is, and same thing with The Quarterback, is life happens as you build a business. You either watch these guys come off the football field, go right back to sitting with their kids. You watch, like in The Bear, you see the personal stories behind the scenes of a fucked up, twisted family. Wait till season 2, Keith. Holy hell.
I'm sure.
What is The Bear? What bear?
So if you watched, what was that movie with Lip? What was the series Lip was in?
Shameless.
Shameless. So if you watch the series Shameless, which is, you want to talk about a fucked up series. one of the best actors in there is he played a really smart guy named Lip.
The oldest son, extremely smart, great actor too. And he's the lead chef of this restaurant that his brother left to him when he died.
Yeah. And so you get to watch, basically a guy who is a Michelin 5-star chef go into Chicago, I think it is, and try and recreate a restaurant or clean up his brother's restaurant that's just a mess.
It's a shithole of like a pizza place, sandwich place. Like, this guy's, used to cooking, $1,000 per plate meals and shit in these nice restaurants. And he takes over this shithole and tries to clean it up.
And so you got, this same guy that's got his brother his cousin, sorry, that's, just the guy that can get anything, but's never really been good at anything in his life, to just family drama. It's really damn good. And what I like, probably one of my coolest things in The Bear is watching negotiations with the guy who actually funded the whole project and how they handle that situation, and then how they're actually building out the teams and putting their whole lineup together, which has been really, really fascinating. When I looked at the freaking quarterback, watching that series in particular, it's really wild to watch how disciplined these guys are. And, people talk about that kind of hustle and grind culture all the time, but you watch them guys study the film, study the tapes. I mean, every week they are changing up what they call the plays because they're just at that level. And there's one episode during the quarterback where the three main quarterbacks are following have to just read off one of their plays, and their play is like rubber ducky 34, 10, 12, 9, 65, 22 with a button hook curve 3 right to the left and head
Omaha.
left, right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? They call that, and then the Omaha is the audible, where you do something different in that same play. And everybody has to understand. Kirk Cousins was my favorite one to follow, actually, because what he puts his body through and his mind through and everything else, and you can hear him get hit, and he's he can just feel his ribs crunches on every other play. And the fact that he actually stood by his principles and took every Tuesday off to spend with his family in the middle of an NFL season like that and do nothing for football every single Tuesday was pretty cool.
You're gonna have to get Keith a Vikings hat now.
Absolutely not.
The one quarterback, I don't think he should still be playing in the NFL. The one that got cut.
It's funny, he didn't get cut, right? They replaced him put him as a backup in like the 6th or 7th week from Atlanta, and then he quit.
Yeah, I mean that tells you everything you need to know about that guy.
So he did go and have surgery on his leg and everything else, but most people would wait till the end of the season so they could support their team. He actually, Kim, I just lost a little bit of respect.
Yeah,
by the way.
I think I peaked a little bit.
That was a terrible comment in the middle of that whole thing.
Donnie, you don't even follow sports.
He knows enough not to follow the Vikings.
Yeah, you have an opinion about other people's teams and you don't have one.
Dude, here's the thing. I love sports if it's a Sports Center version. Right? Give me the fucking highlight reel.
He wants the cliff notes.
Yeah. I don't need all the ongoing plays and everything else. I don't
need the actual sport. I just want the highlights.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then as Paul Surge, everyone's a glutton for punishment. The Bears haven't been relevant since like the 57 or something.
I mean, why do the Bears still even? At least that one I know is why do the Bears even have a team anymore? That's
Bears.
And I'm pretty sure they now play in the single oldest NFL stadium in the United States now.
Yep,
Soldier Field is. Well, it's because surprising. It's older than Lambeau Field.
Well, the reason they play in the same stadium is because they can't make enough money to actually buy and upgrade a new one because they play so bad.
Yeah. And what's funny is Lambeau Field, like the Green Bay Packers, is the only relevant team between Wisconsin and Illinois. So I don't know why you guys just don't choose the Packers to root for you.
Soldier Field opened in 1924.
Yeah.
Lambeau's been used by an NFL team longer, though. They've been using theirs since 1957. So evidently Soldier Field was something before.
Well, Soldier Field, I think they played baseball. They had during the Chicago World's Fair, it was used for something. was used for a long time before the actual Bears moved into it.
Yeah. No, it's all the above, man. You realize that, sports, it's a freaking business. Of course, running a restaurant is a business.
Well,
And
look what Jerry Jones did with the Dallas Cowboys, right? He bought that team for like $150 million, $156 million. It's worth close to $3 billion now, and it's a marketing machine.
yeah.
And Jerry was smart during all the controversies. He gets in front of the team and reminds them, gentlemen, we are in the entertainment business.
Right.
You are entertainers. We are in the entertainment business. So everything you do and everything you say reflects on this team. And I just thought, wow, now that's freaking leadership right there.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, thanks for reminding us that the Bears played at Wrigley Field. That's 2 losing teams in Chicago. Nice job.
Well,
Good thing they have the Bulls, at least, and they got some championships out of one team, and the Blackhawks.
My favorite thing from all these shows, though, is watching, these people who are at the top of the game, whether they're the chefs, whether, I know in the Bear, they're actors doing playing the roles, but watching these people at the top of their game and how they handle it under pressure. Because I think, that's where you get to see somebody's true colors, is when they're in the moment. And
the way I've always correlated the sports and everything else, right, is the 4 of us on this screen right now and everybody else watches, we're not going to get a chance to play in a World Series or a Super Bowl or, Stanley Cup Finals. This is our Super Bowl.
Yes.
Right. What you do for your job, what you're doing, whether you're working for somebody or own your own company, doesn't matter. This is your chance to be the MVP and be that quarterback, right? Be the starting pitcher for the World Series, whatever it might be, and take your company, your business, and everything else to the next level.
100%. And I think most people, because they're not thinking of it that way, they show up every day under this kind of good enough vibe, right? They're just going through the paces versus, the biggest thing that I keep trying to look at right now is like our team on the executive side thing. Is this our, championship team? Is this a team that can take us, all the way to a championship game? I keep asking, what is that championship game? Where are we showing up the biggest and baddest, and you get to see the end results. And the more you look at every sales call is literally the game leading up to whatever your championship game is, and how good you are in that moment is huge. And just like those pro athletes have to, handle themselves under pressure, it's the same thing for us as we run our businesses. That's go time, right? That's when you have to be in it, be on it, and be able to deliver. So
it's okay, Keith. I'm making sure he doesn't cut you. You're still safe.
But I would tell you guys, if you're going to watch series and sitcoms and the likes, which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, because I do it. I mean, Christ. But find the lessons in there. I keep my phone pretty close to me. So if I get an aha, I get a takeaway, I get some sort of lesson learned, I can freaking jot it down, and then I can figure out where I can use that later, or ask myself why I wrote the damn thing.
Yeah, we all know when Donnie's watching that shit, because we always get text at 2:00 in the morning saying, "Hey, I got an idea." Like, oh shit, wonder where that came from.
Yep. Oh, dude, don't let me listen to Alex Hormozy. That motherfucker, dude, every time I listen to his shit, I'm like, oh, we need to be doing that in business. We got to be doing that. We need to be adding this. Like my favorite thing that Alex did is, what if whatever you offered was 100 times the value that you're currently, charging for it, right? What would have to change to justify that value at that cost structure? And I love that thought process, because now it really forces you, cool, how do you make that client experience so rad that they'd be willing to pay that price point?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Even at 10x, right? If you just 10 times what you charge, what would you have to do just to level up like that way? I did that exercise this weekend for my company, and it's eye-opening experience.
Yeah. It really makes you look at through a completely different lens.
Donnie, it's interesting. What you just talked about was disruptive leadership, where you come back with an idea that just sort of kind of disrupts the team to make them think a little bit outside the box. I had bosses all my life. They'd go off to this study group with a bunch of peers, and they'd come back with 10 ideas. And when you're the guy that's got to implement the crap they come up with, it's like, oh, please don't go to that fucking meeting. Please don't. Please, God, please don't go to that meeting.
See,
but anyway, some of the stuff they come back with was great. It's
well,
just,
the flip side of that is, yes, it's on the leader to not overwhelm their team and give too many things to change up and move. But it's also on the leader to make sure there's enough people there that can implement these crazy ass ideas. But there also has to be somebody there that can go toe to toe with the leader. Go, all right, fuckhead, right? Let's get this other stuff done before we pummel it on there. So, like in our world, we're starting to look at two levers, which is, what is our strategy to go out and get them? What's our strategy once they touch our world? And what's the sequences and things behind that? So, which is going to require two different mindsets, two different skill sets.
Well, not only that, but the infrastructure needed behind the scenes to be able to implement that process and keep up with that process, and long-term goals and everything else. There's a lot to it.
Yep. And it's the old dilemma of working on the business, working in the business. Keeping everything. Yeah, Michael Gerber's E-Myth, it's huge. And trying to think through all the spinning plates, just for comparison, right now, we've got the Badass Business Summit coming up. We've got all the chapters going. We've got the podcast going, the blogs. We've got all this content, all this training, the online platforms, there's all these moving parts. And, there's got to be the mechanics behind it to keep everything flowing and going. And
a Monday morning kickoff show. I mean, good God, how do you get it all done?
Right. Thank God I look good, because I think that covers up a lot of the fuck ups. Looks.
Excuse me while I go put my boots on real quick.
If our producer would be at meetings every week, it'd be a lot easier.
Right?
Donnie, are you going to have anything to say about cold calling this morning, or are we going to put that off to some other time?
We'll put it off to another one. I wanted to go on those shows. That was fun.
That was fun. It was very fun and very enlightening. Thank you. That was worthwhile. So, you guys listen to podcasts this week or not?
No.
So I have to ask about that title page. Is it like Star Wars, where we do the podcast review via the Force, or?
Yeah. So I just went to Canva and just put in, I need like intros and transitions, and I just found a bunch of different ones and add words to them. So.
Yeah, what's funny is it looks like, it kind of reminds me of Asteroids,
right?
Video game.
Yeah. Can you add a D to it?
Oh. Obviously,
May the Force be with you.
Obviously, I created it.
We're reviewing it via the Force.
I never even saw that. Oh, hell. Kevin, what podcast did you listen to?
Which one did I listen to? All right, so I did the 3 ingredients you need to grow your podcast is the one you gave me. So I actually really like this. That he talked about 3 different things that you need to have for your podcast to grow. And it was nice because he made them all start with the same letter. So they're actually easy to remember this time. Clarity, connection, and context. And it was interesting because the context, he used it in a way that was not how it's normally used in language. So his idea of the context wasn't, these surrounding meanings in what you're saying and everything, but his context was, where are people actually at? What are they doing? Are they at a point? Are they in the middle of something where they could actually listen to your podcast and go find your show? And that if you want your show to grow, you need to be presenting it and getting in front of people at that point in their life when they're actually on their phone doing something where they could actually listen to a podcast.
Yeah, I love that whole, he talks particularly at that point about the podcast that was very, very industry centric. Like there's literally could only be 2,000 listeners to this show because it was focused at one niche industry. And to try and get people to listen to the podcast, they put an ad out in their industry magazine. Now I want you to think about if even with a QR code, somebody has to go read the magazine, then take another maneuver to either type in the name of the show, use a QR code, right? It was too many steps to get the listeners to actually listen to the show.
Well, and if you're listening to listening to a magazine, if you're reading a magazine, are you actually in a position where you're going to go listen to a show right then anyway? It's kind of the whole concept of when people used to, or they still do, when they're on stage and they're like, email me or go to this website, and people write down the website on their conference book, but then they never actually go visit the website. Whereas if you tell them to pull out their phones and text this number to this place, they'll get the stuff right away. And now they're in your world. It's what is actually easy for them to do.
Right. I really liked his whole segment on connecting, which really made me think about, because he came up and Kevin Schendeman is probably the best guy out there. He's got a podcast called Grow the Show. He's the best, I think, in the marketplace of teaching people how to actually grow and build a profitable podcast. But when he talked about connecting, he talked about it from the aspect of you need to connect with what you're teaching with something they already know. Right. So they can connect the learning there, which I really thought was a interesting way to look at it. So you can connect it via stories. You can connect it via, something that's a known fact or idea. But, I think most people, especially in the podcast space, they just throw open a Zoom and have two people have a fucking Zoom conversation. And there's no context. There's no connecting. That's just the same old boring ass show that everybody else is out there producing. So, he always harps on clarity, just to dive deep in that. I think most people don't know what the fucking point of their own podcast is. And I think they're just putting a show up because they think it's going to bring business in, not thinking through, why people should actually listen to the show. And I love when he harps on a lot of the shows. You can tell he's talked to a lot of generic podcasters that are like, oh, you listen to my show for the stories. You listen to my show for the inspirations. And he goes on about all these stupid shit that people put these shows together for. But
every podcast is a story, he says.
Yeah. So it was a pretty good episode of his. Not all of his episodes are great, but I enjoyed that one. Oh, and then Kevin had me listen to, which I really thought was an interesting one, Boss Babe.
I figure since all the cold marketers on LinkedIn think you are a businesswoman, I'd give you a podcast that's designed for
very
women.
appropriate.
Yeah.
But the episode is 285, The Secret to Scaling, Delegating, and Finding More Freedom in Your Business with Natalie Ellis. So not a bad episode. One of the things that I like that she brought up is we're really focusing on, our business being a machine and the sales mechanism and the sales machine behind it. And she dove into some pretty good, ideas behind how do you feed the machine? How do you keep the stuff coming in and going through it? Then I don't know if she said this or this was my takeaway as I was walking and listening to the show, but freedom comes from having a machine. And if your business is a well-oiled machine, meaning you're constantly able to find potential clients, get them into your system, get them happy with services so they become your best salespeople, right? You can continue to feed and get the machine going, but that machine's got to have all the process and systems in play to allow you to actually do all those things. And I really love that idea. And then the last one, I don't know why I wrote my note this way, but it says promote yourself. And as one of the key mechanisms or levers to fill the machine. So not a bad episode, Kevin. No takeaways for you?
I I didn't like her as much. I think I need to listen to it again and actually slow it down because the high speed listening with the Irish accent was odd and distracting for me. But yeah, I liked the episode you gave me better.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers. She does have a tough voice to listen to. So but all in all, it was
Well, and I think I got turned off with the. I teach this to people, and they ask me this question all the time. So I'm just gonna do an episode and then putting it into her course. That and there are a lot of ads.
Yeah, I don't even remember. But that one, because of her voice, I had to listen to it sped up. So I listened to almost 1.5 speeds. Just so I can get through and get the notes out of it. So, all right. Well,
I'm reading a book called Free Time by Jenny Blake. And I don't know about her podcast. I haven't listened to that yet, but she's got several podcasts out there. But she talks about building the systems and having the stuff put together, building the machine so that you have real, true free time. And it's amazing how all the storylines are sort of lining up for us here. But the fact is, that's how you do it. As long as you are the one person that without you, the business doesn't work, you're never going to scale the thing to a point where you can kick back and enjoy life.
Yep. That's a job, not a company.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I actually pulled up and I've got a quiz for you boys. So I am going to read a bunch of quizzes about some famous business blunders and brand bloopers. Your guys' job is to tell me who created the error. The first one, if you miss the first one, I'm going to laugh at you three. So if you're following along, you can play in the comments as well. But these are famous blunders and bloopers. Which famous fast food chain once launched a campaign encouraging people to eat like a king, but had to recall the ads after realizing the slogan also spelled "eat like a kin"? A-K-I-N.
Eat like a kin.
Yep.
Eat like a king. It's got to be Burger King.
Yeah, it's got to be Burger King.
Yeah.
Burger King. In 2011, this tech giant released a smartphone with a virtual assistant that had trouble understanding accents and often gave bizarre answers to simple questions. What was the name of this virtual assistant?
The name of the virtual assistant?
Siri?
Yeah. Yep.
Siri.
Yeah, it's Siri. One car manufacturer had to recall thousands of vehicles when they accidentally labeled the gas pedal as the brake and vice versa. Which company labeled the gas pedal the brake and the brake the gas pedal? Ford, Toyota, Chevy, or Honda?
Honda.
Toyota.
That's what I was going to say too.
Has to be Toyota or Honda.
Yeah.
Toyota it is. I mean, at this point, if you've driven, I mean, I guess somebody new in the car, you're not really looking down at your feet anyways. Does it matter what they say? The brakes should be on the left.
I mean, Toyota, they had to translate brake and accelerator.
Yeah, but
then you throw in.
You're not staring at your feet while you're driving, I hope.
And then you throw in a third pedal for some vehicles. It could get a little confusing for people.
Only if you're from Minnesota.
Right? Which popular social media platform accidentally changed its logo to an obscene image for several hours before realizing the mistake and fixing it? Now I want to freaking know what it is because they don't have a picture of the logo. It was either Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
I'm going to go with Snapchat just because
That's
the
what I was
name
going, yeah.
itself connotates kind of a funny thing that it could be.
I'm going to say Instagram.
It was Twitter.
Ooh,
But now I want to know.
Can you find the logo?
Yes, start Googling as I get ready to read the next one. I want to know what the obscene Twitter logo was. Hold Hold on, now I gotta Google that one. Obscene Twitter logo. I don't know.
I'm pulling up images now.
I'm searching. I haven't seen it yet.
We hope you're enjoying this segment
Right.
on Use Google and what you can learn from using Google today.
So, let's see if we can find it. I
Ooh,
can't find it
that's
quickly.
really bad fried chicken logo.
Mhm.
I'll send that to you three later because we're not sure.
This clothing brand had to pull a line of T-shirts from stores after customers noticed an embarrassing spelling mistake in the slogan. Which was it? Adidas, H&M, Nike, or Adidas? Gives me
Well, since you're
Adidas
saying
twice.
twice, I'm saying maybe it might be Adidas.
Yeah, it's Adidas, but it doesn't tell me what it was. I wish this would have gave me the pictures of what it was. In 2022, a major airline company ran an ad campaign with the tagline, "Relax, you're in safe hands," along with a picture of a pilot reading a book about how to fly a plane.
That'd be Southwest.
Come on, tell me it's like Delta, some giant airline.
Nope, it was Southwest.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
you're looking
God.
for something funny. Oh God, that's
Southwest.
incredible. Southwest.
Y'all know Southwest is still the most profitable airline that's flying today.
I don't
Yep.
doubt it. Well, I do. I kind of doubt it. Once Herb Kelleher left, I'm surprised it didn't kind of fall apart.
Yeah, he was definitely the brains behind all that. This popular soft drink company had to recall thousands of cans after manufacturing errors resulted in their drink smelling and tasting like shampoo. Which one was it?
Pepsi.
Fizz Cola, Bubble Mist, Coca-Cola, or Pepsi?
Wow, I'm gonna say Bubble Mist. That's kind of like shampoo, right?
That's what I would have guessed, but it was actually Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it a Coke? Was it the Coke brand?
It doesn't say.
Because they're like Anheuser-Busch. They got more damn labels and brands
Yeah.
than you'd ever hope to know.
Oh. Which global retail giant accidentally printed a phone number for a sex hotline on their shopping bags instead of their customer service helpline?
Not only would I like to know the answer, but what is that number?
Was it Walmart, Target, Amazon, or Alibaba?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Alibaba because of the language barrier.
It was actually Walmart.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ooh,
can you imagine?
Well, and what was the number? What was the number?
Alibaba is an online store, so I wouldn't hope they wouldn't have shopping bags, first of all.
Yeah, when you order stuff, it comes in an Alibaba bag.
Yeah.
Oh, does it come in a bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it comes in a box, but inside the box is a bag full of your products.
I'm just surprised that in Rogers, Arkansas, they even had. Well, that's the problem. In Rogers, Arkansas, they didn't know there was anything called a sex hotline.
Yeah.
This does the
You know what else they don't have there?
You know, in Rogers, Arkansas, the number is 1-800 my cousin.
Hey. My best
We're about to
friend.
get some complaint mail from Arkansas here.
One famous
They
software.
don't know how to write.
Oh, gosh.
Shoot.
Kevin Snow at scnonline.com is the email address you can send that to.
One famous software company released an operating system that had a notorious blue screen of death error causing computers to crash frequently. Who was it?
That was Apple. I'm pretty sure it didn't do that right when
That
Steve
was
Jobs
really
launched on stage.
for a while.
Actually, they're saying it's Microsoft.
I was going to say Microsoft. I thought it was
Microsoft.
Yep, blue screen of death was a Windows thing for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I mean, you got to admit, there have been some really freakingly bad Windows versions over the years.
Yes, there has. This automotive company mistakenly aired a Super Bowl commercial featuring their new car model, but viewers noticed it was the same design they had used 10 years ago. Ford, Chevy, Honda, or Volkswagen? Ford.
Ooh. I'm going to go with Volkswagen.
It was Volkswagen.
Yeah. They seem to have the very least new designs ever in their
I
line
was
of
going to say,
cars.
every damn Volkswagen looks like every other damn Volkswagen.
I know,
It's
yeah.
going to all look like a Beetle. Oh.
So, Crazy. Y'all want to move this on to Donnie's World?
Yeah.
Here we go. I don't know. Let's do this. I don't have a segment break for Donnie's World, so I can do this. Now we're fully transitioned. So tell them what Donnie's World is.
So, for those of you that are new to the show, Donnie does not watch the news, listen to the news, read the news, or partake of any type of media that actually shares news stories. So, Donnie tends to not know things are going on in the world around him.
I'm
So,
glad about that.
Every week, or actually once a month, we will each come with a news story that, and one of us will be lying. And it's Donnie's job to figure out which news story isn't true.
Kevin. Oh, wait. You haven't said the stories yet.
All right, who's going first?
Oh, what the hell? I'll go first. You ready?
Oh, Lord.
A 19-foot Burmese python, the longest ever recorded, was caught by local hunters in South Florida's Big Cypress National Preserve this week. To put the catch into perspective, the snake was as long as an adult giraffe is tall. It was one of 15 Burmese pythons caught this week in that same area of Florida, and this one happened to weigh a whopping 215 pounds. I'm not ever going to Florida again.
Yeah.
That could eat a full-grown man. Jeez.
Well, South Florida's a scary place down there. Everglades, the only place in the world where crocodiles and alligators live in the same cohabitation area.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then you throw in those damn Burmese pythons down there, and they'll never catch me down there.
You go on with the story, and it says that they eat, house pets and fox and all that kind of stuff, and white-tailed deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're killing the ecosystem.
That's
A
crazy.
snake killed a deer and ate it.
Oh yeah, they'll crush it and then they'll just like swallow it and slowly digest
19
it.
feet. Think about 19 feet for a minute. That's like 2 basketball goals tall.
I mean, do they use the skin for like belts for sumo wrestlers? I mean,
Parachutes. It's a new parachute.
It's not just a belt; it is a full suit.
Right?
Yeah.
For real.
Oh, shit.
So there you
All right.
Also in Florida, when Alicia Griggs steps outside her suburban Fort Lauderdale home, Florida's latest invasive species comes a-hopping down the street: lionhead rabbits. The bunnies, which support an impressive flowing mane around their heads, want the food Griggs carries, but she also represents their best chance of surviving and moving where this domesticated breed belongs: inside homes, away from cars, cats, hawks, Florida heat, and possibly government-hired exterminators. These rabbits are descendants of a backyard breeder illegally let loose when she moved away 2 years ago.
So why don't they just feed the rabbits to the snakes? I mean, it sounds like
That's kind of what was going through my head when Morris
Let's solve
read it.
2 problems with 1 solution. I like it.
So, all
Very
right,
cool.
all right.
I'd like to
So
see a picture of that.
don't live in Florida.
So, all right, I'm leaving Florida and I'm going to come here to Texas for a story that's going to touch Donnie's heart. So, first there was Gone Girl. Now there's Gone Goat. A small town in South Texas has started a manhunt for a goat. $5,000 in prizes, including brisket, salon service, and other rewards for anybody in this small county that finds this missing girl's goat from the fair. So it's been missing now for over a week, and they had over 1,000 people this weekend combing through South Texas County to find a goat.
Did they check the taco stand?
It didn't say what kind of goat, so I don't know if it was a screaming goat. Probably been a little bit easier to find. If it's a fainting goat, you're never gonna find it.
Oh, this one's not. I was expecting this one to be a little bit easier. Oh, you got freaking.
We're good at this. What can I say?
Freaking 18-foot rabbit-headed goat. Got it. So I'm gonna go with Keith on it just because there was too many details in there. In chat, if you're still watching, let me know if you agree. Was it Keith that freaking, is the lie here? Because, everybody was actually reading screens, and that's what I was looking for, someone who wasn't really reading the screens well. So, yeah, it's either Keith or Kevin. Keith or Kevin. Keith or Kevin. Keith or Kevin. I'll stick with my first call. It's Keith. Who was it?
Ta-da!
It was Morris.
It was a 19-foot Burmese python, but the one that was the world record for how much it weighed at 215 pounds was actually from 2022. And what else was it? And it wasn't one of 15. It was the only one that was caught last week. So there you go.
Fucking details. Well read. Well read. Damn details. Boy,
So if you go to the AP News, you can actually see pictures of.
Yeah, I was looking for the pictures now because I'm like,
all the rabbits.
I thought Morris had the lie this morning. What are you doing, Kevin?
The funny thing, I actually had Keith's story up on my screen too, and
Kevin and I almost had the exact same story.
Yep.
This is the greatest comment today. What I have learned: Morris is a great BS artist.
That's right.
That's it, Hilly. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what's big and exciting for this week for you guys?
I'm actually gonna, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to go try and find a goat.
Are we carpooling? $5,000 freaking. I know you want the foot massage and the fingernail salon stuff done, but I'll take the brisket.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna try. I don't want that brisket. So if they was that brisket and a bourbon, then I would have been down there this morning.
Right. Man, I don't see why these rabbits are a damn problem. Some of these rabbits are freaking cute as hell. Hold on. I want everybody needs to enjoy this with us.
Well, now Donnie's going to have a rabbit.
Well, one of the comments in there was that people don't understand how complicated these rabbits are.
Oh.
They need special diets. They can't just eat normal food. They don't.
Oh, well, then they'll die off anyways, right? If they need special food and shit, just fucking let them go. They'll figure it out, or they'll evolve. But
is this an invasive species, or are these pets?
There was a breeder that let loose a bunch, and now they've continued to breed. And
so this is like a high-end breed of rabbit.
Right? Only in Florida. That whole rumor with all these snakes and all that other stuff, right? 1970s, they filmed a movie down there. They had 5 Burmese pythons, and instead of returning the snakes, they just let them go because it was cheaper. And then, of course, you've gone through, several hurricanes since that time as well, and several snake farms have been completely demolished, and all those snakes released into the wild. So who knows exactly where it started, but freaking Florida and their invasive species of crap getting around is ridiculous.
Don't they have the big rats too? What the hell are those things?
Nutria.
Nutria.
Nutrias, yeah. We actually have a lot of nutrias here in Texas.
Do we?
You live in New Orleans, you learn what nutria are.
Yeah, when I lived in Keller, when we built our house over there, we had a pond back there that was overrun with nutrias, and we actually had as a HOA spend money to have a nutria trapper come in because they just terrorize the ground out there.
Nutria trapper. That is called a 22.
We call that.
And HOA actually did something helpful for their.
Yeah, the only time I can remember an HOA doing anything worthwhile.
Yeah, in South Louisiana, we call nutria trappers. That'd be Cousin Boudreaux.
Breakfast.
He skinned them things and he sell that.
Isn't that what they put in boudin?
Boudin. Yeah, everything goes in boudin, man.
That's right.
I watched a video where somebody was taking their pond and filling it with crawdads. They said that it would eat a lot of the plant life and clean up a lot of the pond. And I just never seen it. Stock a pond with crawdads.
They might live on the edge of the pond, but they don't live in the water, and they're not amphibians.
They stay in water most of the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we drove to Florida, my brother and I on I-10, we passed a crawdad farm, and it would look like have you ever seen a rice farm like in Japan, where it's like shallow water and tall grass? That's what it looked like, but there you could see all the traps on top.
They come out of those holes, man. I tell you what, they come out of those holes. We lived in Boutte, Louisiana, and man, they were just all over the place, just wild, everywhere.
Yeah.
But I just never heard of using crawdads to clean a pond up.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a new one on me. Oh, I've seen catfish and all the fish farms and stuff, but
Yeah.
I guess
Interesting.
gonna have to get some freaking crawdads from my damn duck pond. So just be
Well,
a
where
bit.
is it? I think somewhere in Missouri, one of the river, it's Missouri River maybe over there, that has those flying fish that have
Oh.
invaded that whole thing. You can watch videos of these guys in the boats and the fish is flying into the boats and knocking one guy off his boat.
Have you
You
seen
just need giant koi.
Yeah. They're not the koi, are they?
No.
The giant goldfish. You just need a bunch of koi in your pond.
Right. Yes. But those jumping fish, have you seen
Yeah.
the rednecks that go through with the John boats and their guns? And
Yeah,
they do
well,
target
yeah,
practice?
One guy had a big net hanging off the back of his boat and like just and too many fish got in there and it broke the net, broke his entire thing. It was hilarious.
The craziest fishing thing there is still noodling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to put my hand down in a hole underwater.
No desire. No desire.
First guy I saw do it, he goes, "Really, there's no accidents out here." You know, dude, you're missing a finger.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Like, come on, dude. He's like,
I
what
mean,
happened to
I
your
understand
fingers?
back when there's like cavemen and shit, and you don't know any better. Maybe one of the hunting styles is you stick your hand down the hole and see what the hell's in there. But haven't we evolved a little bit? I mean, just a little bit.
Not in Oklahoma, they haven't.
Well, I was gonna guess that was an Arkansas thing.
Oh no, that's in
Alabama.
Oklahoma, Red River.
Yeah, no, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. Good
Probably
times.
some Mississippi, I'm guessing too.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Definitely West Virginia.
So, all right, coming up with trainings and announcements in July, we're doing all about rethinking in your business. This week, Monica Tuck will be teaching rethinking your brand. And then coming up in August, it is all about customer acquisition and retention. Excuse me, with Kevin coming in on the 3rd, talking about supercharging your sales process. On August 10th, I'll be teaching Prospecting 101. August 17th, client retention best practices. And on the 24th, we have Kevin teaching unlocking customer value. On the 31st, we will do the live Q&A that we do every month that has 5 weeks, where the members of Success Champions get to come in, ask whatever questions they want, get a little bit of promotion for their companies. On July 28th, there is the 7 Deadly Sins of Small Business Owners. It's being hosted on LinkedIn. And then on September 20th through the 23rd here in Fort Worth, Texas, we have the Badass Business Summit. We're almost sold out of the VIP tickets. In addition to that, Kevin and I will be heading down to Atlanta for the Battle Business Summit. That's coming up in 2 weeks. So if you're going to be in the Atlanta area, come see Kevin and I, come say howdy and hello. You guys have any other events or announcements coming up for you guys?
The August 3rd becoming a champion should be really interesting, considering we're all going to be in Atlanta already.
Oh, so that'll be fun.
Either be from the hotel room or the lobby of the hotel or somewhere. So
that'll be a good time. But lots of cool.
How many more spots you got for the Badass Business Summit overall, Kevin? Keith, whatever your name, Donnie.
So just keep yelling out names and we'll get there.
Phil, George,
Ed,
Bob,
Stu, anything.
We got a couple of spots left for sponsors, and we've got a handful of tickets. So tickets are going really quick. I do know that the hotel did reach out and say that if we don't fill up the last few rooms, that they will give them over to the TCU fans for the weekend, because we are stacked up against TCU football. So if you haven't got your hotel room, you're going to want to do that fast out there. So it's going to be a hell of a shindig. One hell of an event. Any last things, guys, before we get us out of here for the week? Let's do it. Morris, take us out of here, my friend.
Hey, y'all, go out there and have a great week. Enjoy. Have a wonderful time. Stay cool and enjoy it. Bring a friend next week. We'll see you right here again next Monday on the Growth Mode Live. Have a great time. See ya.